Good afternoon and welcome to today's Lonsec iRate webinar session. Apologies for the slight delay. I was just in another meeting. My name is Tracy Barden and I'm the Senior Client Relations and Training Consultant here at Lonsec. So I'm going to be taking you through today's webinar where we focus mainly on the funds research module. Before we begin, I'm just going to make sure I'm going to share my screen. So if you do have any issues with not being able to see my screen, I've just logged into the main iRate homepage. Just please type me a message on the message panel and I'll look into that for you before we get started. Also, if you're having any issues hearing me, if you can type me a message on the message panel and just let me know if there's any issues. There is a lot of information I know to take in on today's session. So if you do have any questions, feel free to type me a message throughout the session and I will endeavour to get to your message. Also, I will leave some time at the end to answer any questions you may have on the module. I'll just give it another moment so that everyone can log in and get settled before we go on the fund research training session. So thank you. iRate is our funds research area. So if you just hover on funds, this is where you'll find this particular module. It is broken down into a number of other areas as well that you may not be aware of. Fund research is where we're going to spend most of the time. So I'm just going to come back to that one after I've run through the other tabs. So we also focus on, and we have ETF research. So if I click on here, we also have a separate page designed just for the ETF universe, if that's what you specifically want to do some research on. If you are familiar with the layout of iRate, you will notice that most of our pages, like the funds, equities, or listed income, are designed in the same way, so it just makes it easier for navigation purposes. So you have here a search column on the left where you would put in your either your name of the product or an actual code, and you can see in here just on ETFs that we have research on 174 products. So that's just in that universe. We also produce a sector summary. So within here, so you'll be able to access, this is where we would publish our sector reviews and different research reports for our unlisted investments. So these are covered across all the different sectors from Oz equities right the way through to direct assets. And you simply click on this and you can also see the sectors under the global equity. So you have two here and you can also expand on these lists. Okay. So that's your sector summary. Research schedule then. So when you click in here, so this page obviously will provide you with an overview of our research schedule and just a little guideline of our projected start and completion dates for the sector summaries to be published. As you can see, there's a list of them here. Also gives you information on who the lead analyst on the particular sector is. So should you ever want to contact someone in our research team, you'll have the contact the key people for that sector here, and also you can download the research schedule as well, so you have a schedule of that and it contains contact numbers as well. So that's your research schedule. We also have a rated funds page. So within here you'll be able to review and download a list of the Lonsec rated funds at one simple click. So as you come in here, it's broken down into the sectors and then obviously subsectors underneath, and then the funds listed within those subsectors. And you can export our rated funds in one simple click, export all rated funds, and then our top rated funds. So different lists that you want, or also to print. So that's your rated funds page. Also, you have rating history. So on this particular page, so we monitor any changes that would have occurred in the last 3 months on our products, and just to continuously, I guess, monitor any changes on these investments. So you'll see a list in here within 3 months, this particular Aviva. So it was previously recommended as at this particular date, and the current rating is investment grade as at the 14th of August. And it gives you a quick link then to our research report, a viewpoint. So if you click on this icon, it takes you into our product viewpoint. Okay, so that's your rating history. And then the last tab as well, which contains a lot more information as well under research methodology. So we have a number of different documents in here that you can download, and just outlines this Lonsec research will outline our research process in a document. Also the rating definitions. This one is really useful as well for advisors and clients. So if this particular the ratings that sit on our research reports, and you want a little bit more understanding of what highly recommended or what investment grade means, just gives you further conviction underneath of what exactly they mean. So this investment grade rating indicates that Lonsec has conviction and the financial product can generate risk adjustment returns in line with relevant objectives, and so on. So it goes through all of those on the particular, the different definitions. And also as well, it mentions, so if you have a subscription for equities, it will also cover off approved and not approved stocks as well. So it's a good little 2-page document that you can always attach maybe with an SOA for a client. We also have, so our BIOmetrics, which is another measurement of determining suitability when you're choosing a product, not just on a rating, but it works in conjunction with the rating. We have 4 biometrics. We have complexity, standard risk measure, we have financial product fees, and ESG. So risk to income is just, that will be coming out shortly, but it just gives you further understanding. So ESG, for example, if you want products that are more socially responsible for investment, you could click on here just to get further understanding on ESG awareness for products. Okay, and that will take you straight into that document. So that's your research methodology. So as I said, there are other tabs underneath funds as well, just so you don't miss out on those. But coming back to fund research, as I mentioned, you probably will spend a lot of time in fund research. So when this loads, you'll notice that it is designed the very same way as what we saw on our ETF page, just makes it easier for navigation. And there's a number of different ways that you can search for different products. So for example, if you wanted to type in, if I just type in Fidelity, it's quite intuitive, the tool, and it will actually give me some products that I may have researched already, or it will just give you a prompt of a list of investments. So it's quite good like that. But you can also pop in just Fidelity, click on your magnifying glass, or search, whichever you're most comfortable with. And that will give me a search result of 89 products, as you can see here. So it's more of a word search than, you know, a sector search, anything like that. So it's anywhere you'll see the word Fidelity. As you can see, we have different platform variants. If you just want to restrict your results to like the headline or parent funds, come over here and select headline funds only. Click your search option again. And your list is suddenly limited then to 12. So it just makes it a little bit easier for your selection of investments. So from here as well, you have your, on the main fund research product search screen, you can see the code of the product, the name, rating, asset class, sector, subsector, and also your research documents. So when a product is rated by Lonsec, it will have 4 different icons just lined up side by side. These are the quick links to the research documents. So what we have here is a 1-page fund profile. So these fund profiles are really great for SOAs and for clients. They have the key information of the particular fund, as you can see, and it's a 1-page snapshot with all of the basic information on the fund. You have your rating here, your key information. You have some charts and graphs as well, your growth of 10K, annual returns, risk or returns after fees, and so on. Now, with the research reports in Lonsec, what you will notice is we do work on an 80-20 overlay. So it's 80% qualitative and 20% quant. So it's not just a data dump of figures without any context. You'll see there's a lot of context throughout all of our research reports as well. The second report then is our fund viewpoint. So this is a 2-page document. Again, really great context in these reports. One of the main differences on this report, and I really like, is Lonsec's opinion of this fund. This paragraph is really good to give you further insight as to why the change has occurred. So it's really good to get into the habit of looking at this paragraph as well. So the third document then is our fund review, excuse me. So when we send out our 2 analysts to review a manager, this is where this is the report, the manager report that they put together on the particular fund. So how it works is our 2 analysts will go out and meet the manager, and the key areas that they would look for will all be documented underneath. So I'll just go through some of this with you. So we'll look at people and results, go through research and portfolio construction, risk management, performance, size and expertise. As I said, there's so much information in these reports. They really go into huge detail, so that's why the particular fund would sit at the rating that it does. There's also the product review and the company itself, the product focuses on investment focus as well. So you can scroll down and have a look through those, the different approach and the research that's combined into that report. So that's a really good one. So that's our third icon, the fund review. And the final report then, so this is an annual report, and this is our sector review report. So again, it comes out once a year, and you'll be able to see that on the actual schedule. So for this one, it's the Global Emerging Markets and Regional Equity Sector Review. And you'll see from the table of contents then what exactly you will get from this report. So if there's been any upgrades, downgrades, any new investments to the sector, key observations, performance, and so on. Okay, so there's some really great insight you can gather from all those research reports. Okay, so there are your quick links. Also, another way that you can search, I'm just going to clear my section here, is you can use your API or codes as well. So for example, if I type in MGE, click on search or enter. So this just gives me product details on the one investment that I've typed in, so just Magellan Global, and all of the different headings across the way and the research documents. Another useful tip as well is if you have a client's list of holdings, or if you wanted to create, I guess, an APL, what you can do is if you have those investments in a Word document or Excel, now I just have one here as an example. Let me just open this. Of codes from here, so I'm just going to copy and paste from a list I have. And I simply just paste it into the white space here with no formatting, just obviously a space in between. click on search, and here I have those 9 products that I've chosen from my Excel file. So a really quick way, if you wanted to download the research reports on these documents. So for example, if you wanted all 9 of these one-page profiles, so this first document, so you pick select all. Now when you have products selected here, ticked with the box and highlighted in orange, it opens up the functionality of all these tabs across the way, which we're going to go through. I'm just going to firstly show you the profiles one, as this is very beneficial. If you click on profiles, so it displays the report on your screen. So you can see we have the 9 profiles there. And if you want to either download in Word or PDF, and you can also print. If I click download in PDF, the first option it gives me is to download all profiles in PDF. So this will bulk those 9 research reports together for you. So that saves you a lot of time if you had a number of investments that you wanted to download the research on, or else you still have them individually underneath. Okay, so that's a really good feature, the profiles. Just come back to product search. While we do have these selected, if in fact you were going to research these 9 investments quite frequently, or they were going to be part of an APL, what you can do is, so we have them selected, as you can see up here in the selected, and also the workbench, which you might have seen, this is also populated with the number 9. When you click on a product, it will store in here unless you want to do something else with it. So you can send those investments to different parts of the site, all depending on your subscription, but you could send them to portfolio construction or quantitative analysis for performance charting. You can also download the research reports in here as well. So it's just a matter of getting used to different ways of how you can do the same, I guess, functions. But the workbench is a really good site-wide tool. In here, because we have these 9 products selected, and I want to put them into a product group, as I'm going to research them frequently, click on Create Product Group. Let's just give this a name. PG August 18. Click on Create. And you can also, if you're not creating a new one, you can also add products to an existing group as well, if you didn't want to create all the time. So I have that green bar that said it's created successfully. I can now clear my search, and I haven't lost any data just in case. So if I wanted to make some changes to that product group, I'd come up here under my username and I'd go under my product group. So you'll have more functionality underneath here. Load existing, because I've already created this. This is my product group. Click on the name. And this takes me into a separate page where I can see my product groups. These are the settings on the left. And here are my different products contained within this group. You can also make changes in here. So I'm going to push back these arrows. You can add further products in here by typing in a code. So I could type in a code in here. So I can add in and make some changes that way. Or you could type in a number of codes. So it's up to yourself. You can also add in, depending again on your subscription, shares or listed income. So now I have 10 products, or I may want to remove one. So let's take out this MLC. You can also click on the trash can to remove a product. So now I'm back to 9. I'll just click Save as I've made some changes. And my product group has been saved. When I now go back to my fund research page, and I want to retrieve that information to do further analysis, do I have to go back and enter API or codes? Do I have to search again? Absolutely not. So there's a number of filters on the left-hand side that you can use in here as well. One of them being product group. When you hover, you'll also see like a tooltip to help you along the way. So this is just telling you can access your product groups that have been shared and that contain the product to the area you're in. So click on this arrow, click into the white space. Now it is alphanumeric, so we also have the numbers first and then the date, or the dates first and then the letters. So we've called that PG August. Click on the correct group, click on search, and without having to enter any API or codes, I have now my 9 products that are stored in that group. Okay. If I want to run further analysis on these products, I mean, I don't have to, you can select all, but you can also do individually. So what you could do is, I could pick 2 products and I want to run some analysis on these. So I've selected 2. As you can see, my selected field is 2 and not 9, because I just want 2. So all of these different tabs will have different attributes behind them. Some may be relevant and some may not be, but at the end, you do have the option to customize, and you can pick and choose what data you want to export. And again, it's fully presentable, and you could print off particular reports of the data you want to export. So product search, you've seen those headings. Product summary then, you have different headings across the way. Some of the key ones that will stick out here will be your ICR. So that's something new on that screen. The ratings then, so this just gives you responsible entity, asset class, rating, and the rating date when it got that particular rating. Your biometrics, so as I mentioned earlier, this is a newish feature that is used in conjunction with your ratings, just for determining suitability of choice of financial product. So we have 4 of these: standard risk, complexity, ESG, and your fee structure. What this is telling me is with the standard risk, so it varies between 1 and 7, 7 being very high, and 1 being low risk. So these 2 are both 6. Your complexity, which is your moving parts, your ESG awareness, which is your responsible investing, and then your fee structure. So just some different data as you move along. This one now will be very useful maybe every month. Performance and prices. If you're currently running performance in an Excel, something like that, you can now do it from here. So you have your different returns from 1 month right the way through to 10 years once we have the data. And the really good feature here is if you go to export, we'll say to PDF, your performance and prices. So when this downloads, let me just open this up. And it's fully presentable. You don't have to add anything further in. You will notice that it will attach the benchmark for you. So it's highlighted in bold how your fund is tracking against the benchmark. And these 2 obviously are using the same one of what they're measured against. So that's really good. And again, fully presentable. You could print that off and attach that. So that's another really great feature, the performance and prices. You also have your fees and minimums. One of the key areas then in here is the addition of an MER as well. You have your asset allocation. So just giving you the breakdown of your particular investments. Your profiles, so we've already mentioned to download these profiles, and the bulk function. The product comparison. So if you are choosing to swap a product maybe out of a portfolio and your client wants to change swap one product over the other, and you just want further conviction as to why you should do so, you would put in it's already put in as you've selected the product. It just pops them side by side. So we have our IML and our Pendle. You can add in the attributes then that you want to, I guess, compare the different criteria on. So some of these will already have been populated in here, but you can choose to add or to delete as much or as little as you want. And it's not just quant in here, there's also qual as well. So for example, if I click in this white space, attributes, and I want to pop in, let's see, something that I may not have put in, let's pop in ESG awareness. Let me see, is that added in for me? Just going to pick one of these and just check that it's adding this in for me. Or some of these might already be in here. As you can see, you can delete some of these as well. I think I might have exhausted the amount to go in here. Let me just add one in. Okay, I'm not too sure why that is not adding in for me at the minute, but how it works is you will click on the particular attribute. Going to remove some of these just to see if it will add in. So I'm going to go to benchmark. I've just lost my data in here. But just, I think it might be a slight bug on my screen, so apologies for that. What you do is you select your particular attributes in here. I'm just going to click a refresh. It might be my screen. Just bear with me one moment. Okay. Come back to my product comparison. Okay, so as you can see, it's adding it in here. Apologies for that, I think it was just frozen. So you select your particular performance or your different criteria, and it will add in for both side by side. You get the addition of a difference column. So when there's any data or figures, it will do the calculation for you. So as you can see here on these returns, and there's 10.43 and 11.38, and it will do the difference for you. You will also see there's a plus here. This allows you to change the reorder of the attributes. So if you think return should sit a little bit higher up, click on this plus and just drag it up the screen. Okay, and again, it's you can play around with this and reorder those different attributes any way you like. You can compare up to 5 different products by clicking the plus here. This will allow you to add in further products to compare. Okay. Then you have a more area. So we also have an income growth split, whether it's an income or growth return. And we collect the comments, the quarterly comments from the managers. So if you wanted to have a look at those. Unit prices, so these are entry and exit and not daily prices for funds. We also have a fund hierarchy page. So in here, if you wanted to see the different, I guess, platform variants of a headline fund, come in here, and I've just clicked on this IML. Just click on this, and you can just expand, and it will show you the list of the different platform variants of that fund. Okay? And the final part here will be your custom report. So you've moved across all of these attributes, and some of them may be relevant and some may not be. What you choose to export, you can then customize in here. So this has now given me a customize functionality. Click in here. By default, you'll have rating, asset class, sector and subsector, and then you can choose what to add in. So once I start ticking these, so I've ticked ICR and it just appears over here. Status, investment structure, manager name. We can enter some returns and so on. So you get the general idea of being able to customize the data that you want to export. I can also push back those arrows so you can see that a little bit better on screen, and there's an arrow just to show you a little bit more. And again, you will notice in iRate that there's a quick link to export to Excel or to Word, or you can print this off. So that's using all the functionality in here. I'm just going to come back then and just show you some. I'm going to clear all of these sections. So it's probably a good idea to get into the habit of just clearing different funds. You don't want to add in different products to a group by accident. So I've also mentioned that's how you would search for a fund, whether it's an API or code or the name, but you can also drill down using these filters on the left. So we have asset class and sector. So for example, if you just wanted, let's say property and infrastructure, you can tick this box and then it will also give you a further subsector. If you wanted direct assets, and again, it will populate and tick the direct assets for you. And if you just want particular ratings, you could do highly recommended, recommended. You don't have to use all of the filters along here, but if I tick search on property and infrastructure, direct assets, and I picked highly recommended and recommended, it's now narrowed down my search to 14 products that fall within that category. Okay, and you can see them displayed here on the screen. So that's your asset class and rating. You can also filter further than using biometrics. So if you wanted to select the different range as well, you don't have to choose every biometric. If you wanted just to see the risk and you want to choose products that sit between 3 and 6, you would just select your range here by just moving these little orange tabs and then tick on search. Okay, so it is quite easy to navigate and get round. Product group, so we mentioned how to retrieve your product group. We had the PG product group August 18, and that's how you would retrieve that data. There's also a platform filter. So if you're just investing on a particular platform and you want to see what investments are on there, for example, if it was BT Panorama, click on search, and it will give you the entire list of the products on that platform. So we have 511 on BT Panorama. And you can still go further and drill down using different, you could just then choose, I just want what's highly recommended on that platform, click search, so click highly recommended and then search. So now we have 94 products that are highly recommended and are on BT Panorama. So that's how you kind of get familiar with using these filters to drill down further into what exactly you want to search for. You also have, so that was platform, you also have portfolios, so you'll be able to access the Lonsec model portfolios in here as well. We also have them with and without alternatives. So they will be in here, those models. Investment structure also. So if there's a different type of investment you were looking for, not just a managed fund, if you were looking for LICs, for example, or SMAs, you could tick on these and tick on search. So I'll just use LICs, for example. So you can see we have 64 products that we've researched that fall under the subsector LICs. Okay, so again, it's just to restrict your search. Then you also have investor size, whether it's retail or wholesale, and you also have sorting order for the display on screen, so you can also change those up as well. Okay, so that's your fund research. I'm also just going to quickly show you as well, so the functionality, the workbench that we mentioned earlier, when you select on either funds, equities, or listed income, that will store those products until you want to do something further with them. So you can send them to different parts of the site, as I mentioned. You can also create a product group in here if you didn't use the option on the screen. And you can also download the different research reports, so the one-page profile, all in here as well. So again, it's a really good feature to get used to. Also, when you do create a product group, so I'm just going to come up under here. When you do create a product group, so for example, the ones we've created, this PG18, it's also really good that you have your alerts switched on. So they're under your name again, My Alerts. So you already might be receiving our PM research bulletin at around 5 p.m. each day. So this will give you the latest research, if there's any rating changes or any changes on particular funds. Let me just click that again. This will give you all of the different changes and just keep you up to date with any changes on investments. So in here, you can actually customize what you want to receive from Lonsec. So if you click on this and just expand the iRate newsletter and bulletins, you can see here, so I'm subscribing, I get the AM bulletin, that's for an equity subscription, the PM bulletin, so that's the okay. Don't see anything nothing has changed in here. If you can advise if it's back, just let me know. Oh, that's great. You just got confirmation that it's back. Apologies for that interference. Thank you very much for letting me know. I'll just go back over that area again for you. So if you have created a product group, for example, we've created our PG August 18, and if you have an investment contained within that group, for example, ABC, and it's suddenly gone from recommended to, we'll say, fund watch or investment grade, something like that, maybe a downgrade, and you'll be alerted through the research bulletin because you have it ticked to receive it. So you'll be alerted that it will tell you that this particular investment, and if it affects a multiple amount of product groups that you have, it will say this product contained within this group, this product group, is now changed to the particular rating. It will allow you then to make any changes if it's on an APL, if you want to remove that product, but it keeps you abreast of any rating changes that occur. So it's really good that you have your alerts switched on to receive. Also, just to point out, so when you come into the main dashboard on iRate, those rating changes, when you come in here to your dashboard, when you log in, the latest research, as you can see, will always be on this particular screen as well. So the last 10 entries with any changes. So you can see this cold tester maintains highly recommended. And when you tick on this, it will take you straight into a research report. So it's the product review. Okay, just another note that when you are accessing iRate, It does work best if you're using Google Chrome as your browser. Sometimes people have issues downloading research reports, and they're blank when they download them if they're in possibly Internet Explorer. So if you can use Google Chrome, then that's probably best. That's probably everything I'm going to go through with you today. I do understand there is a lot to take in, so I appreciate your time. I'm going to leave our contact details on screen, so if you have any queries in relation to iRate, please give us a call on the 1300, or also we're very happy we have a dedicated iRate team who you can reach on support@lonsec.com.au for any assistance or questions you may have. Also, there are other, where you've registered for today's session, there's also different modules, again, depending on your subscription, that you can also register for from next, they roll every Wednesday. So if there's another session that you want to, next Wednesday is going to be on the advisor tools. Feel free to register for another session as well. So I just want to say thank you very much for your time today. I'm happy to take any questions you have on our message panel. Otherwise, thank you very much, and I hope you found today's session beneficial.